My name is Shrikanth Narayanan. I'm a university professor and the Nikias Chair of Engineering at the University of Southern California. AI holds a lot of wonderful promise, particularly in healthcare, both in kind of accelerating and enabling things that we know what to do, but at a great scale with efficiency, with cost savings and so on. The even more exciting part is to create tools for discovery, from details that we can uncover about the brain, body, and behavior, both under well conditions, but also when it is challenged by disease or disorder. But the third, even more sort of exciting aspect is how we can translate that into just-in-time screening diagnostics, treatment, response to treatment at scale across the world. So AI can be an enabler, it can be a game changer in all these respects, and towards enabling health something to be a more proactive way of considering human well-being rather than a reactive way after something has happened. So I'm very optimistic about the promise and the potential of AI in health. Studying aging, all of us age as we speak, and understanding how people age and mapping the trajectory of aging in the population is important. So in one study, University of Southern California, my university, with partners in India, over the last decade or so have been engaged in mapping how people across India age to be a role model study for the world also, right? It's a large-scale demographic study. It started as that across all the states in India in collaboration with All India Institute of Medical Sciences and 20 other medical institutions across the country, from north to south, east to west, and the Institute of Population Studies and so on. So they're mapping. As a part of it, sub-part of it, related study, another study led by USC, my university, alongside, again, these partners in India, they are trying to study the etiologies, the variation, and aspects of it related to dementia. People are trying to map everything from using neuroimaging of the brain, biomarkers, to social interactions and language development, how dementia presents itself, why some people are, have a higher likelihood for dementia than others, what can we learn from it and scale up. So that big study is very exciting and is being held in the other part, in a large, complex society like India, becomes a role model study for other parts of the world. This study is ongoing, and we are hoping that this collaboration, it's based on partnership. It cannot be done by ourselves. It's supported by the National Institute of Health through the National Institute of Aging. I'm so honored to be a part of that. So my role there brings in ideas from AI and technology. Let me give you a specific example. One hypothesis is, how does linguistic ability mediate cognitive decline, right? A place like India is a natural place to study that, right? People speak and know 2 languages, 3 languages, 5 languages, and they can interact and switch. Even while speaking 1 language, they are very comfortable in switching between languages, what we call code switching, or mixing 2 languages, code mixing. So the hypothesis, or the question people are asking, is how does this linguistic ability, whether it is formal education or not, right? Large population in India also does not have formal education, but can speak no language, mediate sort of cognitive resources and in the presence of dementia. So this is a new study we have initiated. We are collecting language samples from across India, across languages, and using techniques like natural language processing from AI, speech processing to analyze and map this. And this is very exciting. The current state of the art in psychiatry or psychology, right? A lot of it is based, is qualitative, based on, you go, they these instruments, questionnaires, basically survey instruments, that they either ask the patient directly, to say diagnose anxiety, or diagnose a condition like autism in children, either the parent or caregiver in some cases, or the patient themselves, or the clinical sort of observation is based on interaction with the patient directly. The psychologist, psychiatrist interacts with the patient along a number of dimensions, and then they make a note. Very sort of human intense. Many of these can be, and it's also sort of as a result very approximate, because you cannot see what is happening inside the person, right? And so one scientific thinking, which is based on some theories of neuroscience and physiology, says that if changes are happening in the mind, such as like we talked about, right, depressive sort of thoughts, negative thoughts, or suicidal ideation, people think about, and there must be some markers of that in the soma, in the body, whether it is in the brain or body. And so in this particular new scientific project that we are trying to pursue together with, I'm leading it, but the team is filled with neuroscientists, psychiatrists, computer scientists, so on. We're looking for, can we get objective markers that can complement the clinical observation, the tradition, what we are doing. We're not saying take it away, so that we are able to, just like when we go to an eye doctor to check our eye strength, we are presented some stimuli, we read it, based on how we perform, can we do a similar thing for probing the mind and its distress in a continual fashion? What science can we develop? And so that is the new project. There are two such collaborations I would like to highlight, both kind of supported by Government of India's SPARK program. It stands for Scheme for Promotion of Academic Research and Collaboration. So I've been honored to be a part of it. The most recent one is to study neural signals, cognition, and what happens to it and when it is challenged by disease. So we just kicked off this project. It tries to probe aspects of cognition through objective data to measurements, whether it is imaging, putting sensors on people while they're engaged in different cognitive activities, and also in populations with neurological challenges like neurodegenerative diseases or other chronic conditions like from epilepsy to sort of lesions in the brain. And so it's a collaboration again between sort of multiple people, IIT Madras, JIPMER, a very renowned medical institution, hospital in Pondicherry, Puducherry, and USC, my institution, colleagues from MIT, and so on. And we are hoping to sort of use this collaboratively, pose the question, the right questions, in ways that have not been asked before, and try to discover from the socio-behavioral markers, the neural markers, how can we map, quantify aspects of cognition, differences across people and their conditions. The second example I want to give is more in a clinical way. It's with colleagues at the Indian Institute of Science and NIMHANS right here in Bangalore. There we were looking at markers using, say, speech and language variation, because when you think about when we use speech and language like we are doing right now, right, it exercises many of our human systems, right from the brain to plan to the motoric aspects, that help us take that idea into some action with which we create information signal that you are processing in your auditory system and bringing back to the brain. So if anything is disturbed there due to neurological condition, motoric condition, or other aspects of psychological things, it will affect what we say and how we say it, or how we interact and behave. So all these are very humbling in a way, because these are very complex problems and questions, and it is clear that it cannot be answered by just one person. It has to have a community of people working together and to seek these answers, and I'm hoping that we could all contribute a little bit make a difference.